We are now live. I'm trying to act like one of those people on a sitcom when they have a musician on. They're always like,
They're not. Yeah. It's always a little weird. Okay, that was it. I played a little bit of piano and then go back downstairs. I hate sitcoms where people like. We talked about this before.
yeah.
The amount of rage both of us feel. Okay, I won't be moving around. Yeah, I'm just gonna jog around the house the whole time we talk. We'll just get this background. Yeah, I can spin around. How's that? That good? Here's Harrison playing video games.
Yay! Hi, Harrison.
Yay. Oh, okay. I do need to show one more thing. This
Okay.
is my my Captain Marvel Shazam
Nook.
shrine. My wife just said she could do like an annoying background noise. I don't know if we want that.
Well, just like real quick or like throughout the whole video?
Probably throughout the whole video.
Oh, well, that's different. I wouldn't mind hearing a quick annoying
I
background noise.
Here, I'm gonna put my head right by that halo of light. Oh, there. Oh, I have an idea. All right.
What's your idea?
See, no, look. See, I had the light bulb over my head.
Oh.
I have an idea.
Whoa.
Okay, never mind.
That's me reacting to your idea.
That's great. That's great. We should have our own sitcom.
A really,
I think we're ready.
Really awesome sitcom, probably. So,
Yes.
yeah, I decided this time not to do any kind of intro or anything. I don't know why. I just decided not to. Currently, we have absolutely 0 people watching. So yeah. So I say we just kind of.
I think there's a glitch, and we have like 20,000 people watching already.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Monster.
I have the comic all set up on my app.
Cool. Well, we'll talk about that here in a moment. I figured what we'll do is I'll give a brief synopsis. I'll run down the credits of the book, give a brief synopsis, and then we'll just talk about how we felt about this here tale. But first, for those of you who may not be able to read, or if you're listening to this on the audio feed later on, I got Harold Jennett with me today, who evidently is, according to his tag, dog tired.
I'm incredibly tired. I've been waking up at 5 a.m. for the last 2 weeks.
Why? Why are you doing that?
This happened to me years ago, and it's happening again. I don't know. My body's just like, hey, time to wake up, and it's usually I'm having a bad dream. Actually, every time I know I'm specifically remembering I'm having a dream, and I'm waking up from it, and then my brain's just on now, and It takes a very long time to fall asleep. I was almost over it for a little bit, and then it just got bad again. But
so you're having a form of insomnia.
Yeah, that's what it is. So, I mean, I eventually can fall back to sleep. It just takes about an hour or so. I've been trying to not stay in bed and force it to happen. I'll just go downstairs and read or something. So that's why I'm dog tired.
Have you ever read or listened to the Stephen King book, Insomnia?
I don't think I have.
I remember really quite enjoying it.
Yeah. It was good.
And it ties in slightly to the Dark Tower books.
Now,
which is always fun.
I only read the first Dark Tower book. I keep hearing how amazing they are, and I feel like I should give it another shot.
Yes, because you have to understand he was like 18 years old or something when he wrote that first Dark Tower book.
Oh, I did not know that.
He was in college or something like that. It's definitely not the strongest of the books.
So this is before he made it big then.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, he'd always had plans to make this sweeping epic. It's been a while since I've read all of them. And I remember enjoying it. And he wrote like the first 3, and then he just stopped for a decade or two. It was like 2 decades between like the third book and the fourth book. He got hit by that van, and he thought he was going to die.
That's right.
And he realized if I survive this, I have to finish the Dark Tower, because this is my wake up call that I may never actually finish it unless I just sit down and finish it. So
yeah. Well, I remember his book Thinner kind of freaked me out a little bit, because that's when I was on the first time I did Weight Watchers.
Yeah.
And when I read it, my wife and I watched the movie. This is after I'd read it. And this is when I was going on maintenance for weight. This is after I'd lost my weight for Weight Watchers. So I was actually trying to like figure out at what point I would maintain my weight, like how many calories. And I just kept eating more and more, and I kept losing weight. And we watched this movie. And my wife's kind of like, "This is freaking me out. Were you cursed by a gypsy anytime in a recent past?" I'm like, I don't know. Maybe that's probably what happened. That's the best logical explanation for me right now. Yes.
Yeah. Don't hit gypsies with your car.
No. I mean, or at least if you're going to do it, make sure that they're dead, and make sure that all their relatives are dead so they can't put a curse on you. So make sure you wipe the whole family out, as you do with gypsies.
Here is the address to complain to.
I don't like looking at myself without the beard. I'm not going to look at myself on the screen.
Yeah. This is the third time you've been on one of the live streams, and the first two you had a beard, and this time you don't. And it's freaking me out a little.
Yeah, my chin doesn't look. I got to do this on purpose.
Your chin is naked.
It is. Who's the guy that plays Vision in WandaVision?
Paul Beatty?
I've been told I look like him.
Really? You need to speak like him then. Be all, "Oh, Wanda."
Yes, oh, Wanda. I'll just speak like this the entire podcast then. That'll be good.
I will say real quick, since you asked me last week if getting Disney Plus again was worth it for WandaVision.
Mm-hmm.
The third episode was really, really good. It's not your typical show. It's very odd. It's being told like a sitcom. And the first episode was basically a sitcom in the 50s. The second episode was a sitcom in the 60s. And the third episode was a sitcom in the 70s.
Okay.
And but
there's
a reason behind it.
Okay. Part of me wants to get it though, so I can keep up, because there's always those people, and I don't mean you. This isn't me like trying to smoothly say it's you, but there are some people that don't know how to not spoil things. There's always the popular person that says, this isn't a spoiler, but, and then they spoil it. Yeah, it's you. Yeah, there was a specific guy I worked with. He said, "This isn't a spoiler, but," and he would proceed to give you the biggest spoiler of the movie. And you're like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Well, that's not really a spoiler." I'm like, "What do you mean that's not a spoiler?" "It doesn't give away like the whole plot of the movie." I'm like, "That's not what a spoiler is."
This isn't a spoiler, but Harold does not have a beard. I'm going to hide behind my...
Okay. Anyway.
All right, so the whole purpose that you're here, the only reason I would bring you on this show, we decided that, because the first two times you were on, we had nothing we didn't plan anything. We had no topic to talk about. We just rambled on for an hour, and while it was entertaining, because really magical. We're a couple of very entertaining guys, we decided that we would have something specific to talk about today. And so, and we thought maybe, I don't know if you're still on board about this, but maybe once a month doing this, talking about a different book, and you and I going back and forth and choosing the books that we read. But I allowed you, in my gracious manner, to pick the book that we were going to read today. And you chose Captain America, Volume 1, Castaway in Dimension Z. So this was written by Rick Remender. It was penciled by John Romita Jr. Klaus Janson was the inker. Dan White was the colorer. Joe Caramagna
Dean
was the letter. What?
Dean White.
Dean White. What did I say?
You said Dan.
Well, I left a
letter out.
Sorry,
he's like my favorite colorist, so I can't let you say his name wrong.
I left a letter out of his name. That's not cool.
It's okay, Steven.
This came out in when? The first issue, this collects 5 issues of what is like Volume 7 of the Captain America title. And the first issue came out in January of 2013. I'm not sure when the actual collection. I know you read the collection on Hoopla. Is that right?
Yep.
This is also available on Comixology Unlimited. So if you have Hoopla, you can get it without any money. If you're a member of the Comixology Unlimited crew, which does cost money. I'm sorry, I just noticed you sent me a little private chat, and I'm looking at it.
Oh,
and,
that was that's before we even started.
I know. That's pretty sad, isn't it? Anyway, so if you're a member of Comixology Unlimited, you can read it there. If you have a library card and your library participates in the Hoopla program, you can read it there for free. Otherwise, I read it on Marvel Unlimited, so I read it issue by issue. In essence, this is basically, all right, so Captain America, Steve Rogers, he gets on a train. Sharon Carter and him get together. They're checking out this subway train, and I honestly can't remember the reason why. Some secret train line that's underground that nobody knows about.
One of the SHIELD agents found out about it and figured out the secret password to get in, and she had just asked Steve to marry her recently.
Yes.
And she gave him a birthday present. And he had just fought the Green Skull and shattered his hand, but now his hand's all better already.
Yeah.
He hurts his hand a lot in this series.
Did we see the birthday present? What was the birthday present?
She just gave him a little package. We don't see it until later, and I wasn't even sure what it was once he opened the package later in the story.
All right, we'll talk about that.
We'll get to that
because I don't remember that happening.
But he doesn't seem to want to marry her because he doesn't.
Yeah,
he doesn't know if he wants to get involved.
The job comes first.
Yes, he said it just like that.
Yeah, got to think about the job.
Yeah.
So they go to this train station. They go to the train. They can only let one person aboard. So he's being the man, of course. He's the one who volunteers to get on the train. No.
This is man's work.
This is man's work.
This isn't women's work.
Let me get on. And so he gets on the train. You find out it's a whole trap. The train goes through a tunnel into this other dimension, which is run by Arnim Zola. And the place is called Dimension Z, or Zola, or was it Zolandia? Which sounds a lot like Zootopia.
Yeah, it does. It sounds like a Disney movie.
And right away, he's captured by these mutants that Arnim Zola has created. There's a little boy in a freaking tank behind him. He has something injected into his chest,
which should have killed him. I'm sorry, but
he's a super soldier.
Yeah, but okay.
Emphasis on super.
So time out. All right, so he just broke his hand. Okay. I feel like I am still confused about Captain America's strength level, because I was always under the impression that he is the pinnacle of how strong a human can be. Not superhuman, a human can be. But I feel like he continually does stuff that's superhuman. So I think maybe I'm either mistaken about how strong he is, or Marvel just keeps changing their mind.
He has super strength. I don't think he compared to Spider-Man, maybe. I don't know that he is as strong as Spider-Man. I want to say that look at me just blocking the camera while I try to look it up on my phone. I didn't say
anything. I just was like letting you go with it.
Don't look at me. I'm so embarrassed. I feel like the description of Captain America's strength, and I'm going to look it up as I'm talking about it.
Please do, because it's really bothering me. Because he was like wrenching huge pieces of metal out to escape from that chair, and they shoved, I don't know, a gigantic needle right into his chest, which, I don't know. Anyway, it's a comic book. It's a comic book.
Captain America represents the pinnacle of human physical perfection. While not superhuman, he is as strong as a human being can be. He can lift or press a maximum of 800 pounds with supreme effort. So yeah, okay. I think they kind of take that to extremes
sometimes.
At times. Definitely not as strong as Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Spider-Man can lift a car.
I digress.
So yeah, he gets this giant needle shoved into his chest. He breaks free. He escapes, and we find out he has taken the boy with him.
Actually, it's a baby.
It's a baby, yes, a baby boy.
Baby boy.
Zola thinks that the boy has died. Zola also has a little girl there, his daughter. The boy is supposed to be his son. She thinks that her brother has died and that Captain America has killed her little brother. And then we skip a year into the future.
1 year later, I'm like, what?
So he's living in this Dimension Z now for a year, and he's got long hair and he's all rugged looking.
And you'll be happy that he has a beard.
Yes,
I'm a little jealous.
he has. It's a very sad looking beard actually at first, but I don't know if that's because it's not a good beard or if just because of John Romita Jr. I don't know who to blame for that.
we can go into that later if we talk about
We'll go
artwork.
into that in a bit. So he then basically he spends his time just trying to survive and raise this kid, and he wants to try to get back to the city where this train came out at so he can go back into the tunnel and go home. But when he escaped on some kind of rocket ship or something, some kind of craft, it shot so far into the distance that he can't remember his way back. And so
how far did he fly though? Like a year?
He flew for a year.
I mean, no, it's taking him a year to get back to where he flew in like 5 minutes. Okay. It was super fast.
Maybe the laws of physics in Dimension Z or Zolandia are a little off. Okay, so let me just ask real quick, because I think you kind of felt the same way about the story as I did. Did you like it?
I actually really, as much as I'm making fun of it, I actually really enjoyed it. It's just that I always critically pick things apart. Like, why would he do that? Why is he doing this? Like, why is his hand already better when it broke in the beginning of the story? I really like how Rick Remender kept going back and forth between Steve's childhood, and I just like the way that he wrote. I felt like he was just I think he did a good job of portraying what a rough time that Steve was going through all the crap he was dealing with and for the last year. But I liked it. I liked the story. I thought it was cool. By the time I got done with it, I wanted to get the next volume.
Well, I thought the story was fun. I shook my head a couple of times. This is one of those stories that I have to get all old fogey about, because 5 issues, because the volume comprises 5 issues, and what happened in those 5 issues could have filled one issue of an old comic book in the 80s, right? It just seems like, okay, we're 5 issues into it, and then I realized, wait a minute, he's not out of Dimension Z by this point. We haven't wrapped up this story in 5 issues. There's more, and I don't know how long he's in Dimension Z. I know that at one point during this volume, it shoots forward another 11 years. So when you IM me the other day with 11 years later, you lied to me.
I lied to you. I didn't want to spoil it for you. Okay, so for everyone listening, I thought you'd read it already. So I was, that 11 years later, threw me. I'm like, oh my gosh, how long is he going to be there? So I IM'd you 11 years later, all caps, and you're like, what are you talking about? Like, oh no, he doesn't know yet. So I was like, oh, that's the SpongeBob line, because I'm waiting for my computer to load. Like, I felt so bad. Did I fool you?
You did. Okay, I got to that point and I went, you lied to me.
Okay.
I didn't care.
But it was worth it.
I mean, yeah, I wasn't like, you wouldn't have ruined it for me.
Oh, because I was like the best moment for me.
So it gets, I think if I would have realized that was from the story, I would have been like, oh, so it gets really ridiculous. Okay. I
didn't find that part quite as ridiculous. Although, I don't know. I mean, no, you know what? 11 years to go from where that, no, it's even worse. 11 years to go from where his plane crashed to find someplace. It's a gigantic city. How would he not find that in the middle of the, yeah.
Well, here's my thought. At that point, they were living with those creatures, whatever they were called. And I don't know, there's part of me that feels like maybe he wasn't trying as hard by that point to find home, because he was protecting this tribe.
He really didn't want to get married was the thing.
Yeah, he's like, I mean, I want to go home, but psychologically, I don't want to go home, because then I'm going to have to give Sharon an answer.
That's exactly why. Yep.
Because we find out that needle, that when they injected him in the chest, he now has like an Arnim Zola consciousness living in his chest. That was a little weird. Which, is really weird. So he's probably like, I can't take this home to Sharon.
and it didn't kill him. Like,
no.
The end of the story, he ripped the thing out of his chest. Like, it's a comic book.
There's him getting the giant injection.
Yeah.
The problem I had with the 11 years later was that the boy only seemed to age a couple of years.
Yes. He did not look 12.
I was really confused. Well, because a year later, he looked like he was. Let me get to some of that here. So he's of course a little baby. So there he is in the shield. He's rescued him. And then we move on to the next issue. 1 year later. And the kid does not look like he's 2 years old. Or even 1.5. I mean, how old do you think he was when he took him? He was a baby.
I mean, do you think he looks too old? I think he looks too old in that picture.
I think he looks too old here.
But then later, 11 years later, he looked just about the same age.
Yeah, he looks like he's about 6, 5 or 6 here. I think here's where I really struggle with books like this, because I am a huge fan of John Romita Jr. from the 80s.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
his
I think
X-Men,
we're on the same page.
His stuff on the X-Men, on Spider-Man in the 80s, because I know he comes back to Spider-Man at some point in the 2000s.
Yep.
His stuff on Iron Man when John Byrne was writing, his stuff on Daredevil, I seem to remember just loving. His Star brand I loved. And when I see his stuff nowadays, I just always assume that, well, he doesn't have the same inker maybe that he had back then. Maybe,
I mean,
I chalk it up to the inker.
But I feel like Klaus Janson fits his style.
Yes. I do find
very
this
messy inker.
Yeah, well, not necessarily, because I think
messy intentionally. Like, I mean, it's his style. He has a very rough style.
Klaus Janson, I think, is one of the reasons why I like. If you're really paying attention to the Dark Knight Returns book, it's like as that book progresses, as you get to about 3 and 4, Klaus Janson either really kind of stops inking and lets Frank Miller do his thing more than when he started inking the book, because it gets a lot looser. And I feel like that's maybe kind of the same thing here. I think John Romita Jr. Now, Klaus Janson, of course, is a big name, but he's not a John Romita Jr. because I don't want to offend any inkers out there, but in the comic book world, probably to the industry, he's just an inker compared to a penciler, right? Right. I don't agree with that. I'm not saying that he's just an inker, so who cares about him?
A tracer.
But there's a part of me that feels like Klaus Janson is kind of, I'm not going to fix or correct a lot of John Romita Jr. stuff, because he's John Romita Jr. at this point, right? Yeah. It's like, I'm just going to do, I don't know, maybe I'm just talking out of my butt, but,
well, I read an interview with John Romita Jr., and he said that he has two different styles. He has his deadline style and he has his non-deadline style. And I feel like what we're looking at here might be because it's his deadline style. I could be wrong. Maybe it could be the inking. It could just be that's how he's drawing now. But this was not my favorite John Romita Jr. at all. Like, I loved the coloring. I will always love Dean White's coloring, but I don't think the art was great.
Some of this is really good. This page, for example, I really like. I think Mr. Romita Jr. has a slight issue when it comes to drawing kids.
Okay, stop. Okay, yes. Go to page 55. Page 55. This is my main point of this entire comic. And that's why I think that we have issues with that kid looking so different. Like looking the same. I don't think he knows how to draw children, because look at those nightmare faces.
Right? They look like adults.
Yes, they look like little marionettes.
Yeah.
They're just creepy.
I felt the same way when I got to this part. I was like,
look at that little girl pointing, that third panel. Yeah, and her face looks like an adult. His face, he doesn't know how to draw children. They look like Team America.
See, but I seem to remember issues of his from the 80s in which he drew children. that I didn't have any issues with. So maybe again, this is his
I don't know.
deadline art.
Maybe it's just
I don't
bad.
know.
I got to that page. I'm just like, what is this? Like the proportions are so bad.
Every
Anyway,
once in a while, you'll see one of these children and they'll look fine. But then every once in a while, you'll get something like, let's see,
well, like go back a page,
like
quick.
that. This does not, these look like this 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth panel just looks like two adults there. You'd have,
Yes.
if you just looked at this panel out of context, you'd think that they were just two adults.
Yes. Yeah, and I don't think he's necessarily like that much older than the kid than Steve Rogers.
No.
Yeah, he doesn't do the proportions of he's not drawing them right. Although, if you get to the page where like him and his buddy are walking home, that one doesn't look as bad. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, and can you go back to that last page I told you about, 55? Keep going. One more. Yeah, what's up with the shop sign?
X-Lax?
I just feel like that's a large, I don't know. Is that all they sell? Options X-Lax. That's it.
Have you
We
ever
just sell
wanted-
X-Lax.
Have you ever wanted multiple options with your X-Lax?
I don't
They
know.
come in
Sorry.
chocolate. They come in strawberry. They come in vanilla.
I don't know.
It
Anyway.
makes your poop smell like pineapples. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the worst part of the book, was just how he draws children.
I mean,
for me.
again, this one right here, taken out of context, you'd have no idea. You would think if you just saw these two panels together that a child is talking to a grown-up.
Yeah, and then you feel creepy because then you're like, oh, she's pretty hot. Like, oh wait, she's 5. Okay, you're 10. Then you feel bad about yourself.
And it's like he tries to, these giant heads on these little bodies. That
Yeah.
it's a little
Yeah,
creepy.
they're Funko Pops.
But then this I think is a great panel.
But does he
He's
look
got
like a
some
kid?
really good stuff, but then he's got some stuff that just, I don't know. I just don't understand.
I think that's what bothers me, because I feel like there's some great artwork in this book. I feel like, but it keeps going back and forth, like wildly back and forth with the quality of the art. I think.
Well, and hearing you mention him saying he's got his deadline style, that makes complete sense to me, because that is the one thing you can say about John Romita Jr. is that he hits his deadlines, and
He does.
he's willing to, I guess, sacrifice some of the quality to hit those deadlines, whereas other artists they're just not. They're like, hey, this book is going to be 3 months late, and that's just how it's going to be because you're going to get my style.
Yeah.
And I get that, and it's like if it's just then you start the whole argument of should these books be monthly? If they can't keep up with the monthly schedule, should they even be monthly?
No.
If you're going to put an
They
artist
shouldn't.
on a book that can't keep up with the monthly schedule, then they should just be doing a graphic novel.
Yeah, make it a special, or don't
Yeah.
release it until it's all done.
Yeah.
Yep. Like
John
Gary
Romita
Frank
John Romita Jr. also has this very, and I sort of dig it, this very square style. A lot of his, and he really like plays it out with this weird race of creatures here, but
Yep.
very square stuff. There's just squares all over this dude, squares and rectangles, just a lot of right angles.
Yeah. It reminds me how he drew Master Mold in X-Men. He kind of had a similar look to him.
Yeah. But at one point, Cap and his son, Ian, they go to live with these creatures, the Frocks, who
Yep.
are led by this guy here, this emperor type dude who, it's really kind of funny. They get to this point where Cap is sitting there at this underground river with the dude, the Frocks dude that saved his life. And he just suddenly just starts telling him it's just like out of the blue. So I think you should overthrow your leader. You know? they're just fishing. And he's like, your leader's a tyrant and I think you should overthrow him. I think you can do it.
I
And the
don't mean to
guy's
tell you
like,
your business, but
the guy's like, I don't know. I don't know if I should do that. And then the freaking leader just shows up
out of
and kills the
nowhere.
guy. Just kills him.
Well,
And
the
and of
guy did
course,
try to. The guy did try to stand up to him before he killed him.
well, yes, but still, I almost feel like if Cap even says it at one point, he's like, "This is my fault." See, it's right there,
Yeah.
my fault. You know, he's
Yep.
he's and I don't know. I just that whole part cracked me up. It's like, hey, I think you should rebel and overthrow your leader.
It's like, okay.
I don't
By the
know if
way,
I should.
here he is.
And then the guy just shows up. Bam! That's what you get for talking about this.
Yeah.
It just cracks me up. And then eventually, Zola and his daughter Jet find out where Cap and find this group of the Frocks or whatever they're called, and they
excuse me.
Cap is about they find I guess they find the place where they need to go to get out, but they turn back to help the Frocks, and it kind of I don't remember exactly how it ends, but I don't know. I got to the end of the 5th issue and I said, wait a minute, it's not over. There's more to go. How much more could they tell? How much more story could they tell in this world? And that's when I kind of realized they really, I mean, honestly, in my opinion, they haven't really told much of a story so far in 5 issues. I mean, a lot happens, but not much happens. I don't know how else to explain it.
See, I didn't mind it that much. It actually went by pretty quick for me. I feel like he took his time and had like some quieter moments, and he also took some time to go back to like Steve's childhood. So personally, I didn't feel like a lot of people say that when Bendis started writing, that he started to make comic stories take much longer than they should. I forgot what the term is for it.
Yeah.
But I definitely see cases where that happens. There's times where I'm like, this could have been done in 2 issues. This is not necessary. It's like they're writing for the graphic novel.
Right.
I didn't quite. I can see why you feel that way. I didn't feel that way with this story, but I can respect why you do.
But I think one of the reasons I do is really for the last year, while I do read the occasional new book, I spend a lot of my time reading these old books.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's just a huge difference between one issue written in the 80s and one issue written during this time period. And not that there's anything wrong with the way this book was written and laid out and put together, but it's like if you're used to watching TV shows that tell one big epic story that spans over 10 issues, and then you go watch a movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
No, I get
nothing
it.
wrong with the movie. And frankly, the whole Bendis thing, I'm not a huge Bendis fan. I'm not a big apologist for Bendis, but I started rereading his Daredevil run, and I was thinking about that whole thing where people say, not a lot happens in his issues. This story could have been told in 2 issues instead of 6.
Yeah.
But when I was reading a lot of those issues, the one thing I noticed is it's not that not a lot happens. It's just that they're not very action packed. It's like he'll have a quick fight scene at the beginning that might take a page, and then he'll spend 98% of the book with the characters talking.
But
and
I like the way
the
he
story
makes characters talk back then. I think he did a good job with dialogue. I think he made it interesting.
Yeah, and
personally.
so it moves the story forward. You get a lot of stuff out of this story, but you finish it and you're like, they just talk the whole time. Nobody beat anybody up. And even when he does fight scenes in some of those books, it's mostly like the fight is the background while somebody is narrating something over the fight, But I guess that's better than back in the 80s when guys would spend 19 panels fighting and having a really in-depth conversation at the exact same time.
The famous Cap flipping over and there's a word balloon taking up half the panel. He did not say a paragraph worth of words in a backflip. But
I think in the end, my thought with this book is, I think the biggest thing whenever I read something like this, and I think about it as a volume one which is what this is to the full story. My thought at the end of it is, do I want to continue? When I finish this 5th issue, did it make me want to read issue 6? And I guess I'm not going to go out of my way to read issue 6, which is pretty sad because I don't have to go out of my way to read
No.
issue 6 because
No.
it's on Marvel Unlimited. But I don't know. I don't think I'm going to continue on with this story.
I'm actually
I
the
might.
opposite. I think this is the next thing I'm going to get off of Hoopla is the next volume.
See, and it makes me sad because this should be the kind of movie. This should be the kind of book that I would really be into. These kind of dystopian, otherworldly, Captain America obviously he's out of his element. But the only thing that has me curious, honestly, is what's going to happen when he comes back to our world. Are we going to find out that even though he spent, at this point now, 12 years in Dimension Z, is he going to come back to our world and he's only been gone for 5 minutes or something?
Probably.
So.
And does Cap not age?
I don't know. I think he does.
There's a whole storyline where he eventually, not this one, but like way down the line when someone else starts writing him, Cap ages and becomes an old man. So it doesn't matter anyway, because then he gets fixed.
Yeah.
So nothing lasts in comics.
I think he ages like a normal person, but because he is the peak physical specimen, he could probably live to be 120.
Probably.
But yeah,
Well,
I mean, the only reason he was still around after World War II is because he was frozen that whole time. So.
Yeah. It's funny. It's funny you say that. You know how much I buy the Epic collections and stuff, and that huge Marvel Masterpiece sale they had, where it was like $2 a volume. And the volume ones were like 99 cents. So I bought a whole bunch of old comics, and like what you were saying about going from like the 80s to current books, it's kind of jarring with how long a story takes. Like those Avengers stories, like they could tell them probably what a whole issue would be in the 80s in like one page. Like they really moved their stories back then.
Yeah.
Like I'll be reading the end. Like I was reading something with the Masters of Evil, and I'm like, they're gonna need at least 5 more pages to finish this up. And I realize I'm on the last page, and they somehow moved it along like the next 3 panels. I'm like, wow, how'd they do that?
Yeah,
But,
it's like it's obvious that how they did stuff back then and how they did stuff back and how they do stuff now, there's pros and cons either way. There's stuff about the old stories that you like that they're not doing in the new stories, but there's also stuff in the new stories that they're doing that you like that they're not doing in the old stuff. So
yeah,
11 years later.
11 years later. That's probably how people felt when they watched Endgame.
His hair is shorter 11 years later, and his beard is a little bit fuller.
Yeah. And you're right. Ian looks barely older than.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. I'm just going through a couple more pages, see if there's anything else I missed, but I think we covered pretty much everything. At least how I felt about it.
There was some nice stuff with the flashbacks that kind of, because his mom gets sick and he needs to be able to pay the rent because his dad did his dad die? He was a drunk and he was not a nice guy, and
he apparently was a nice guy. He just kind of let everything get to him. Like I remember his mom specifically saying, "Your father was a good man. Things got to him."
Yeah, and that's when because that kind of comes into play here. She gets sick. He needs to get her medicine. He needs to pay the rent, and he ends up robbing a store to get her medicine and steals money. And then when he tells his mom, "Don't worry, I paid the rent. Whatever it takes, I'll make sure that I keep doing that." And she's like, no, not whatever it takes. And that's when she kind of says to him to the effect of, your father used alcohol and that turned him from a good man to a weak man. And you can't be like that. You have to be better than that. And
yeah, that was one of my favorite moments in the book. I think it was that when she told him to always stand, to always stand up.
Yeah.
Like when the father was beating her.
Right. Yeah. So I like moments like that where they show you moments from a character's past that shows you that this is why they are the way they are now. You know, these little life lessons that they learned growing up
Yep.
that turns them into, you know, who they are now.
Yeah, growing up looking like a marionette can change a man.
This is gross. I'm assuming that those are sweat stains, but gross. And then the old man at the store gives him a break.
I like
that was
that.
nice.
I like
That was
that.
very It's a Wonderful Life.
It was.
I tell you, one of the things I don't remember Arnim Zola being like this, but let me see if I can find a.
I don't remember his face stretching out.
Yeah.
Of the...
That's what I was going to say. This
I
right
think
here in
that's
that
new.
second panel. I think that's new too. I don't know if I like it. I don't think I do like it.
It
I'm going to make a
reminds me of the
decision.
creature from the abyss.
I'm going to make a decision right now. I don't like it.
Okay. I didn't mind it.
There's one point where they show it where I don't know, it looked really weird when you combine it with John Romita Jr.'s very blocky drawing style.
Yeah.
And see if I can find it real quick.
I like that they have the letters page in this, because usually I feel like they don't keep those. Is it page 109? Or is it that one?
I think it's
those two pages he's doing it.
One of these, yeah. It just seemed weird.
Yeah. Oh,
I don't
it
know.
creeped me out when they showed him back when he was like a human being and what he did to that like housemaid. The experimentation he was doing. Yeah, that was he's
that was
not a
creepy,
nice man.
yeah.
Yeah.
And as I was reading this over the last couple of days, I've been doing a rewatch of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So as I'm reading this, I start kind of imagining what this would be like with Chris Evans playing Captain America.
Yeah.
And that I found that really interesting. The idea of seeing this on the screen did actually make me enjoy it more. I don't know why.
I kind of want to do that. Watch the movies again.
That's like one of the main reasons to have Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Of course, you can't watch the Spider-Man movies on Disney Plus, which sucks.
You cannot. You cannot.
That's all right. We'll survive.
What do you watch them on now?
You're going to continue with the story. I may or may not.
Well, if you don't, I will let you know what happens.
The ending of this, I don't know. He somehow manages to rip the Zola conscious out of his chest
without dying.
So
that was my head shake moment.
It does kind of interest me. I guess I don't know. I may read it, I may not. I have other stuff that I want to. I've been trying to read all the Marvel stuff, you know, or most of the Marvel stuff starting at 1983, and I'm getting kind of sick of that because there's so much stuff that I want to get to, like Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man run, Dale Keown on the Hulk, John Byrne's run on West Coast Avengers, and I'm starting to think that maybe I'll just, I don't know, there's part of me that's like, just skip everything and just move on to that stuff.
Yeah.
But then there's that completist in me that's like, yeah, but you'll enjoy it so much more if you read everything that leads up to it.
See, I had the same thing happen when I had Marvel Unlimited. I went to the point I went to the point where I remember I had stopped reading comics at the time, and I was going to read every issue I was interested in every month. And it was kind of cool at first. It was around when Secret Invasion happened. But after a while, I was like, oh, I got to read all these. Like, I didn't read everything, but pretty much everything that came out month by month. And it started getting a little old. But I was like, I'm sticking to it. It'll be worth it in the end. But like, I finally started skipping some stuff, saying, hey, I would not have bought this if I know it's all quote unquote free, or at least it feels like you're at a buffet, so you want to get your money's worth. But yeah, there's a point I was like, I wouldn't buy this if I was at the comic shop. So
yeah. I keep reading issues that I'm not quite certain why I'm reading them. It's like
yeah,
I'm only reading them because it's the next one in line. And I have started I'm doing my 7-day trial on the new DC Universe Infinite
I
since
was
they
going to ask
changed
you
it
that.
up. And it's, they kept talking about how they were going to add 2,500 new comic books or 25,000 new comic books or something, and the app was going to be different, and there were a lot of big changes coming. And I mean, really, the look of the app is different, but
Is
it's
it?
all pretty much the same.
Okay.
There's still the one thing that I wanted out of the app was the one thing that Marvel Unlimited does, and that's allows you to pull up all the books by year and have them
They don't do it
sorted by
still?
publication date. They don't do that in DC.
Really?
No.
That kind of stinks. The
Yeah,
one
but at the
thing,
same time, it's like the one thing that they do over on DC that they
do
don't do. I said do
you
that
did.
they don't do on Marvel. They kind of have it on Marvel. They have a section in Marvel where you can sort by or look it up. The events
Hmm.
basically, whereas DC does storylines. So they're not necessarily events, but they're storylines, and I like that. I wish because, for example, I was thinking about how I wanted to read the assassination plot, the 6 issues from Amazing Spider-Man that Todd McFarlane drew,
Hmm.
and so I went to the area where it lists all the events, and of course it's not there because it's not considered an event, but
Okay.
it would have been listed as a storyline if it was a DC thing. So
Okay.
it's they both have their advantages and they both have their disadvantages, and it's obvious that they're not both going to be exactly the same. But
Well, the
I don't
one
know.
thing that I know that DC finally added was, I don't know what, I mean, I know what the reason was. Like, they didn't have Tom King's Mr. Miracle, and they didn't have it even when it had been over a year. Because that was at the time, it was anything that was over a year, they'd add to the service. And it had been way over a year, but there were certain books that I guess their salespeople said, we don't want you to put this on the service because it's just doing too well with the trades, like selling.
Yeah.
So they finally added all that stuff. They finally added like the
Yep.
Vertigo stuff because they didn't
Yep.
have that on there
They didn't
before.
add all the Vertigo stuff though. People are
Oh, they didn't?
complaining about that. Yeah.
Okay.
I guess
Uh,
Sandman isn't on there. Preacher is
yeah.
on there, but
Well, hopefully they'll get it together. But and I did notice it's actually, is it only like, I think it's only $7 a month. I know it's cheaper than Marvel.
it's $7.99 a month. It's so it's cheaper than Marvel, but Marvel is putting their books up after 3 months now, where DC's doing it after 6
Yeah,
months.
yeah. Marvel actually changed that. Yep.
Yeah. So, but the one thing I really wanted to do with this DC app is when I was doing the podcast back in 2006, 2007, that was around the time that Infinite Crisis came out. And I was really into DC at that point.
Hmm.
And I was buying all that stuff, the Countdown to Infinite Crisis, OMAC,
Yep.
the Rand Thanagar War, those they had those 4 miniseries that then led
Yep.
into, and I wanted to, I would love to be able to just get on that DC app, go to the year that all that started, and just start reading those books in order.
Yeah, exactly.
But you can't even I've gone on to websites to try to find the reading order, and they don't even put them in the exact reading order on websites. So
Yeah.
I've just given up. I'm going to read them, but I'm going to read each miniseries by itself, and then I'm going to read Infinite Crisis. But I don't know. I seem to remember there were certain books like Superman and Wonder Woman books, even Green Lantern, Green Arrow books that tied in before it started, but
Yeah.
it's just I've given up trying to. I just wish they would make it easier, but they
Yeah.
don't. They do now. I can go in there and I can choose Infinite Crisis, and it will give me the entire event with all the tie-in issues, and I can read them in order. But I can't. The stuff leading up to it, I can't. I can't find easily. That's
Yeah. So then you got to do the legwork and find it all. And
yeah. So what about you? What are you reading? What are you into?
currently, I actually need to make sure I get on Hoopla and borrow the rest of my titles for the month because sometimes I will forget and I'll realize I just missed 5 things I could have read. But anyway, that's beside the point. Let me see. Well, I want to get the next volume of that Cap series. But I've always been a big fan of the Epic collections that they sell on that Marvel sells. It's just like a nice big chunk of a lot of books and they usually have decent sales, like $8 or $10 for like over 12 issues. But I've been reading a lot of those, and usually they do a good job of curating those so that you're getting like the whole story arc in that. Like they'll find like extra side issues that they'll find like all the extra like if it's to be continued in another comic, they'll put that issue in there too. They do a really good job with that. So I have a lot of those.
A good example of that is the X Factor Epic collection. That is the first however many issues of X Factor. They include in that at the beginning. There is because of course the whole X Factor is all about Jean Grey coming back. Yeah. So they include in that the first 2 issues maybe in that collection, or a Fantastic Four issue and an Avengers issue, which both tie into how she came back. So that kind of stuff's nice. I like that they do that.
Yeah. So I'm reading Avengers right now, the very first issues, and I'm getting this. Like I used to have, they used to do essential collections, which were black and white and about the same size, and those are pretty cheap. And I had those like the hard copies, but I never have gotten this far before with the original Avengers stuff. I was always a DC guy, and I read a lot of the early issues of that. But so like I'm actually really enjoying reading like the first stories with like the Masters of Evil. This one's the most exciting one for me because I love Wonder Man. So this is the first Wonder Man issue, and this is my next one I'm reading. So I'm kind of going back and reading a lot. Like as I'm reading these, I'm thinking, oh, this is around when Thor first started too. So I have the Epic collection for Thor. I have the Iron Man and the Hulk. So I'm kind of going back and reading all the first issues of those guys, and it's just I haven't read anything recent in a while. So it's just been old stuff. I've been reading some Moon Knight, and that's like the old Doug Moench. Oh, you can't see that because it's small. But I've been reading some like the Doug Moench Moon Knight, Bill Sienkiewicz. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, Sienkiewicz.
Yeah, it's funny looking at his old artwork. It's very. It looks like just it could be anybody drawing it compared to like his amazing style now. But
do you remember the Wonder Man series from the 90s?
There was a miniseries called My Fair Super. There's a miniseries by Peter David. I don't think that's what you're talking about though.
No, does this look?
Oh, I did not read that, but I always wanted to.
I really enjoyed this series from the 90s. And you'll notice here on Comixology, they've only got 3 issues, 7, 8, and 9. And it's because it's part of Operation Galactic Storm. So that's all that Marvel has digitized so far, because I believe they put it in the Epic collection probably of that.
Well, I have that. But
it drives me crazy.
Funny if I do it. Yeah. So why wouldn't they? I don't know. That's all they have? Is it on Unlimited?
No.
Oh my gosh. My Fair Superhero is the name of the other miniseries. I really wanted to read that series, the regular series, and I'm very sad it's not on there. It's only 3 issues.
Yeah. But I really enjoyed the art, Jeff Johnson.
Oh, he's good.
Yeah.
Who wrote this?
Gerard Jones.
Oh.
Yeah, see, it's part of this Epic collection.
Not my favorite writer, but that's okay.
So do you have this Epic collection?
I do.
So it's those 3 issues are in that Epic collection.
Yeah, so I have those. It's funny, if I do a search for Epic collection, it's scary how many of them I own now. Like there's more that like have the little green download button than buy.
Yeah.
I have a lot of Epic collections, but I think they're worth it. They're fun.
Yeah, they're good. It's good stuff. I think that was a really smart thing that Marvel did.
Yeah.
I just wish again, the completist in me wishes they would do them all in order.
Yep.
They kind of skip around with some of the titles, but that's, whatever. I used my Hoopla this month in January. For some reason, so when I first signed up for Hoopla, back when I first got my phone, my library was allowing me to check out 4 titles a month.
Right.
And then when the pandemic hit, they upped it to 8 titles a month.
Ooh.
But as soon as 2021 started, they lowered it to 5 titles a month. I'm not sure why, but in December, I had started to read. Do you remember the criminal books, Ed Brubaker and Sean
Yes.
Phillips? They've
Yes.
got all those on Hoopla, and I started reading them in December, and then I used my 5 borrows in January. Within like the first week of January to read through the rest of those, and those were pretty fun.
Are they good?
Dark and disturbing and fun. They
Yeah.
get really kind of weird there near the end, but
You
they
said
were
Sean. Who's the writer?
Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips.
I feel like I like Ed Brubaker's independent stuff better than his mainstream stuff.
Well, he and Sean Phillips have been doing stuff together for over a decade now, and
Yeah.
they started with Criminal, and now they just do like one of their latest ones they put out was a graphic novel called Pulp, and which was really good. Let's see if I can pull that up here.
I can't even find Wonder Woman on Amazon, except for like comics and graphic novels.
Yeah, because they never digitized. Marvel hasn't digitized all of them yet.
Like I'm just trying to find like the actual comics, but I don't see that on here either because I'm not just looking in the Kindle area. Paperback, maybe? Nope. There is no Wonder Woman. I was hoping that I could. Well, I don't want it that bad that I would buy the.
I'm sure I've got them up in the attic because I'd collected them. But it just, it's just one of those things that I wish that it was available.
That's really depressing.
But this is Pulp. It's really good. It's about a guy who writes these pulp westerns based on, because it's set in 1939 and he's somewhat of an old man now. And he writes these pulp westerns based on his actual life in the West. It's really good.
Is it?
Really good stuff. But they do a lot of stuff together now. They got a book out called Fatale. See their criminal books. Fatale. Just all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, he writes a lot. A lot of it's usually crime stuff, right?
Yep. Yeah, like a very noir crime type stuff. Yep.
Yeah. So I'm finding some complete sets, but they're usually around $60 or $70. I'm not going to spend that to read Wonder Man. But that's an option. Is eBay, I guess. You know what I really want to read that you can't find anywhere is Avengers JLA, which I can understand for like rights and stuff, but I cannot find that anywhere.
Yeah. I had found that trade. I think they had it at my library. I don't think they do anymore, but I read it once. And that's the only time I've ever read it, and I remember really enjoying it. And the story behind that happening, because it was originally going to happen back in the 80s, and sounds like Jim Shooter is the reason why it never ended up happening.
Oh.
He just didn't like the way it was being put together, I guess.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
The collector edition on eBay is going for $500 for the slipcase.
Very nice.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a buy it now 1 through 4 for $50. I mean, you can get it if you need to get it, so it's just expensive.
If you're
anyway,
made of
now
money,
you got me looking on the internet, so that's bad. And you can,
if you're made of money, it's available out there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, like I said, I read it once. It's one of those things that it would be nice if they would get together and digitize that thing, and because they could, if they just get together and make a deal, they could put it on each one of their own freaking platforms, because there's gonna be people that will join Marvel Unlimited who are more Marvel fans that will join Marvel Unlimited just to read it, as well as people who will join the DC Universe Infinite just to read it. People who are
Yeah.
more DC fans.
Maybe they get some new fans.
Yeah.
So how long is
'Cause
the free trial for DC Universe?
it's only 7 days.
Ah,
Yeah.
eh.
You know,
I don't think I'll get
DC,
it anyway because I think because I've had it before, they won't count. Yeah, they already consider me as being a member before, so
Yeah.
I don't think I would get the free one.
DC and Dark Horse teamed up a while back and did those. They've done like Superman versus Aliens and Batman
Yep.
versus Predator. You remember those books? Well,
Yeah.
you can get all those digitally. It's they what
Yeah,
whoever
you can.
yeah, whatever deal they made allows, because they're under Dark Horse. If you look it up on Comixology, it says DC and Dark Horse Presents on the cover, but it's published under Dark Horse. So obviously these deals can be struck, but
Oh, I can get the free trial, I think. Available new subscribe. Never mind, I can't. Never mind. Not that I need it. I have so many books to read right now. That we've talked about this. Like I'm like, oh,
Right.
I shouldn't
Right.
buy any more Epic collections. I can just get Marvel Unlimited, but it's only $8. Well, you made the good point that like someday I might not be able to have the subscription, and I'll still have some comics to read.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true. What else did I want to talk about? Because you're like, we've already mentioned you don't have Disney Plus, so you're not watching WandaVision.
I'm tempted to, but
Will you get it when Falcon and Winter Soldier?
oh yes, I think so.
So see, there you go. Then you'll just be
But-
able to watch WandaVision at that point.
I
It'll be
actually I was not impressed by the last trailer. I don't know, like there's lots of action and stuff, but I felt like usually in trailers, like there's some really funny lines or something like witty or just something, but I just felt like everything kind of fell flat for me. Like it just seemed like, I don't know, everything kind of like nothing, none of the lines seemed funny. They just seemed kind of like generic one-liners from an action movie.
I'll admit I kind of feel the same way. There's a part of me that, because when I watched the trailer for WandaVision and then I watched the trailer for Falcon and Winter Soldier and then the trailer for Loki, the one that didn't hit me as hard as the other two was Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
But there's a part of me that feels like I think they sometimes do a really good job of not obviously putting everything in the trailer. So maybe they just did a really bad job of putting the trailer together because they didn't want to put too much into it.
Yeah, because they do sometimes put all the best stuff in there, and then like once you see it, you're like, oh, I've seen all the best parts.
Yeah, exactly. And so maybe the fact that the trailer isn't great is because they're leaving all the best stuff for the show.
Yeah, maybe.
But we'll see.
Oh,
I mean, I'm excited for the fact that US Agent's going to be in it.
Yes, that's the main reason I want to see it.
Baron Zemo is coming back. He's going to be
Yeah.
in it. I don't remember who else, but yeah.
Did you see Fat Man?
No.
I didn't either.
No, that'll be something. If it comes on one of the streaming services, I'll watch it, but I'm not going to spend any money on it.
Yeah. Have you ever seen something that you think looks just hilarious or great, and you have your wife watch the trailer and it's the exact opposite reaction and just silence the whole time?
Oh yeah.
And she kind of, my wife watched the Fat Man one. I'm waiting for her to go, oh, the whole time she's just like, so, and I think she felt bad at the end. She tried to say something like, oh, that looks funny.
Well,
like, no, you don't. It's okay.
It does seem like more of a there's more of a guy movie. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is. And also, you made a good point. It looks like all the best scenes were in that trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Like it seems more like that. Like we both checked to see if it was real or if it was just one of those like fake trailers people do for fun.
That's like that the man who killed Hitler and then the Bigfoot. Have you ever heard of this movie?
But that was real too, right?
Right. I watched it. I watched the movie. It was all right. Sam Elliott starring in a movie where he at one point killed Hitler and now he's hunting down Bigfoot. Why would I not watch that movie?
I'm surprised I haven't seen it yet. Actually, now I got to look it up. Man who killed.
Now it was
Hitler
streaming. I think it was on like
it's on Hulu and Hoopla.
Yeah. Yeah.
I actually
that's why
can
I
get a
watched
month of Hulu for free.
There you go. Get your Hulu for free and watch The Man Who Killed Hitler and then the Bigfoot.
Best thing I've seen all year. I'm sure.
It's okay. It's all right. I think if I had spent money on it, I'd probably be like, eh.
Yeah.
But it was kind of fun.
Okay.
It's an interesting idea. Bigfoot is apparently carrying some disease, and he's coming out of the north, and as he's coming south, he's just all these animals are dying, and the government is, knows that it's going to be hitting a populated area soon, and they need to send somebody in to kill it, and so they find the guy that killed Hitler. They send him in.
First one you think of.
It's like, who should we send in? The guy who killed Hitler? Because Hitler and Bigfoot are pretty much the same person.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, they get mistaken for each other all the time.
Yep. Yeah. How many times have you heard that story? Well, I was driving, I'm in Washington State. I'm on this old logging road, and a figure jumped out in front of my car. At first, I thought it was Hitler, but then I realized Hitler's dead, so it has to be a Bigfoot.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you've had a Hitler sighting before in your life, right? Or at least you know someone that thinks they've seen Hitler.
Yes. Yep. What else? What else I've been doing? I can't think of anything else I've been doing. Like I said, I've been rewatching all the Marvel movies. I'm in the middle of Guardians of the Galaxy at this point. Disney Plus changed up their Marvel page. That used to be that you'd go into their Marvel page and it gave you like all the movies in order of when they were released. And now they have it switched up. They've got Marvel Phase 1, Marvel Phase 2, and then Marvel Phase 3 and 4. And then they've got it sorted to where it's just all the Marvel movies, but sorted by the Marvel timeline. So like the first movie is the first Captain America movie, and then the second movie is Captain Marvel. So if you wanted to watch it in Marvel Cinematic Universe chronological order, you could do that.
That's interesting. And that's what we wish that the comics, Marvel Unlimited and DC would do. But
Marvel has them by publishing date, which is really all I want. That's all I want from DC. That's it. They can keep everything else, but it's like, let's see if I can pull up my app, because even though they changed it, it's almost a lot of the same. So when I open it up, this is the first thing we see. And it actually has at the bottom home. Well, you probably can't see it because of the shine, but the options at the bottom are home, comics, search, my DC, and more. Why is there an option for comics?
That's
the whole purpose. Yeah, that's the whole purpose of the new app. They took away all the shows. Weird. So it's almost like they're repurposing the old app, and they just haven't made all the big changes. And then
that makes sense.
I also don't like, they do have right away, they have an area for latest releases. And I don't know. We'll see next week what it shows, but Marvel's, I think, is really good about showing you the newest releases, but we'll see.
I haven't seen the Marvel app in a very long time.
I think I just have gotten so used to the Marvel app, which is, it's still quite different from the Comixology app, but then DC being even so different at the same time. I don't know. I just wish they'd all get together and just do the same thing. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what the Comixology's Unlimited app is. I mean, it's basically the Comixology app. There's still some things I wish that they would do a little bit better. too. But I mean, I wish they would take all the strengths that the other, like, do they look at their competitors and see what they're doing? Because you'd think that they would try to keep trying to outdo each other. But I don't know. Maybe it doesn't do enough business for them that they put a lot into it.
Yeah, I don't know. I had gone on to Twitter because the official DC Twitter account, when they officially switched over from DC Universe to DC Universe Infinite, they were like, hey, DC Universe Infinite starts now, and here's all these comics that we added. And so I replied and said that I like the app, but I really wish that they would, do the thing where I can look at it by year and publishing date, and nobody has said anything about it. So I feel like I'm the only one that wants it that way.
That's Marvel Unlimited you contacted?
No, DC.
DC, right? Yeah. Comixology is actually really good about getting back about stuff, I found.
Yeah.
I had a couple things with them that I asked them if they could change or not. But
well, you know what's crazy? So a couple of weeks ago, so when I ordered this microphone, I ordered it on Amazon, right?
Amazon, you say?
What?
Amazon, you say?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
Is that a place you buy things from?
I go to the Amazon. I fly to the Amazon.
Okay. I thought you meant a website. I was mistaken.
Pull them off of trees. No, yeah, I ordered this from Amazon, and I wanted. There was something about the tracking. I can't remember what it was. That was driving me crazy because it wasn't showing me an update. I can't remember what it was. And I went to Twitter and I just said, ordered my mic on Amazon 3 days ago. And it had, that's what it was. It hadn't shipped. I ordered it on a Sunday and like by Wednesday, it hadn't shipped yet. And so I just put on Twitter, ordered my microphone on Sunday from Amazon, and it's still showing that it's shipping, but hasn't shipped. I want my mic already. Now, I did use the word Amazon. I didn't put at Amazon. I didn't put hashtag Amazon. But within 5 minutes, the Amazon customer service had responded and asked me, how long ago did you order this? And blah, blah, blah. And it's like, chill out, man. I know it's going to come to me. I wasn't complaining. I wasn't trying, but I just found that amazing that I can email certain places directly and not get a response for 48 to 72 hours. But I just mention Amazon's name on a tweet, and within 5 minutes, they're all over it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, that's why say what you will about Jeff Bezos and being this freaking billionaire that's making all this money during the pandemic. There's a reason why they're making this money. Their customer service is second to none.
Their customer service is good. Even in cases where you probably shouldn't get a discount or shouldn't be able to return something, we'll make it work.
Yeah, because they're still making billions of dollars a week.
Yeah.
So they can afford it.
You know what was scary is my brother and brother-in-law and sister were telling me they were, I don't know what they were talking about, but they didn't do a search on their computers. They didn't do anything. They just had their phones on. They didn't the phones were off, but you know what I mean? They had their phones with them and they mentioned something. And then they went on Facebook and there was an ad for the thing they were talking about.
Yeah.
So
some creepy stuff.
Do not tell me those mics aren't on.
Oh, no. We know for a fact that a couple of years ago, everybody was talking about those Samsung TVs that had the camera built in.
Yeah.
That was legitimately watching people.
Yeah.
And it would see if you were sitting on your couch drinking a Diet Coke, it would file that stuff away and you would get ads and stuff on websites for Diet Coke. You had to legitimately cover up your freaking camera on your TV so it wouldn't watch. I mean, that's some creepy stuff.
Hold on, let me get my tinfoil hat.
Right. No, I mean, I'm creeped out enough when I go to a website that has ads on it and I'm seeing nothing but Comixology ads.
Yeah.
That creeps me out enough as it is. But I do spend a lot of time on Comixology.
To be fair, yeah.
But
what's funny about Comixology is what drives me crazy about Comixology is that you just click on one title one time out of pure curiosity. I'll click on some weird anime thing, not that weird, but I'll just click on something I normally wouldn't be interested in, and now recommended for you every time I go on the homepage. It's there for like 3 months. It's like I will intentionally go and look at like other stuff I normally would read and just keep clicking on it just to change that stupid record. Like let us like put something on that page where you can like edit it and say I'm not interested, so you can take it off of there.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's
because all my friends are going to think I'm reading like romance anime.
Oh, you like these teenage romance anime books, huh?
They're
recommending it for you.
Yep.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's some crazy stuff. But all I want to do is read the lead up to Infinite Crisis. That's
all you want. That's all you want.
And like I said, I've gone to various websites. I've tried searches for Infinite Crisis reading order, and it'll give me all the books I need to read leading up to Infinite Crisis and all the books I need to read during Infinite Crisis, but it won't actually put them in a reading order. And one of the other problems on the DC app is if you're looking at books on there, you have to click on the book and get into the actual data of the book to see when it was published. Because a lot of times they'll show you a date on the search screen. You'll see a book, it'll have a date, and that's not necessarily the date that the book was published. It could be the date that they digitized it. And that just drives me crazy. But yet, at the same time, okay, so here's something that confused me the other day, because I started reading when I got back into comic books around 2004. I distinctly remember going into a comic book store for the first time in years, and the first two books I picked up was Infinite Crisis #1 and Astonishing X-Men #1. They didn't come out on the same week or even the same month. As a matter of fact, I think the Astonishing X-Men I picked up was like a director's cut, like re-release type of thing. So I'm on the DC app trying to find that time frame. I said, all right, well, I'll just see what books came out the same month as Infinite Crisis, or as Identity Crisis. That's what I meant. Identity Crisis #1. And one of the books that I started reading was the Firestorm reboot, because in Identity Crisis, if you remember, Firestorm dies in that book.
Yep.
And then so they get this new Firestorm. Well, the first thing I noticed though was that the publishing date on Firestorm #1 was like 3 to 4 months before that issue of Identity Crisis came out. And I was super confused. It's like, how can they replace Firestorm before he died? I don't know. But stuff like that happened back then because books would be delayed.
Yep.
And they didn't want to just stop like everything else. Yeah.
Yes.
So I found that really weird.
I don't.
As a completist, it drove me crazy.
Yep. Yeah.
And
I think when DC first started doing the Crisis on Infinity Earths, and then they changed all the continuity, that started driving me a little bit insane. Just because I'm like, but Hawkman was in the Justice League. Now he's not in the Justice League, and then would change it so he was again, and it just started. But that's a whole nother story.
Well, the other thing about that I find really weird, there's not a clear cut line in the sand in regard to publishing dates as far as pre-crisis and post-crisis.
Yeah.
Because even the month after issue 12 of Crisis of Infinite Earths came out, some of those books being published that month were still pre-crisis books. And I find you would think that whatever month issue 12 came out, then the very next month would be all, like Man of Steel #1 and Batman Year 1 and that kind of stuff. But, stuff like the reboots of a lot of these characters, like frickin' Green Arrow, for example, his reboot started with the Longbow Hunters. But that came out 6 or 7 months after the last issue of Crisis on Infinite Earths. But I think they were still publishing Green Arrow books up to that point, or something similar. I don't know if that's the perfect example, but when I try to find that cutoff, I can't. There's not a legitimate straight up cutoff, and that
And they never, but
drives
they
me
never,
crazy.
not to, yeah, I guess it's because they never really had done it before, because they didn't have to worry about, like, our whole universe has changed and their story started over.
Yep.
So I don't know.
So I guess it kind of, because of stuff like that, I almost can't blame DC for their app not having the ability to look at it by year and sort it by publishing date, because
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. Just read the storylines and be happy, you big bearded jerk.
Maybe if you wrote them a handwritten letter, sternly written.
Like a quill and an ink pot.
Sure. That would probably work even better.
Sprinkle salt on it to
yeah.
dry up
And
the
when you
ink.
close the envelope, put some wax and put your seal on it.
Yep.
Yes.
My seal is a beard.
Yep. I thought it would be. It's probably like, yeah, that would be perfect.
Yep. My beard's getting kind of long. I mean, look at this. I can see it sometimes.
Doesn't that hurt?
No, I'm not pulling on it hard. But look how long. Long that sideburn is. If sometimes I'll get up and my sideburns will be sticking way out, and I can see them out of the corner of my eye. And I always say, if I can see my beard out of my peripheral vision, it's time to trim it, because I'll be sitting there going, "What's that? Oh, it's just my beard. What's that? It's just my beard. Somebody sneaking up on me. Nope, it's your beard. Time to clip it up." But I haven't. I legitimately
problem
have
I've never had.
I've legitimately have not been in a barber shop in almost a year now.
I don't think we have any barbershops by us. I wish we did. I would totally go to it. With like the big spiral thing in the front.
We have one of those, not in our town, but it's like a good 20 minutes away.
I'm going to move there then.
Downtown Lawrence, Kansas. They got the freaking. No, I
I'm
go.
moving there.
I used to go to this barber shop that was. It was just a little. It was actually legitimately called Barber Shop, and it was just two guys that ran it, and I'd go in and I'd say,
was it Eddie Murphy?
No, I'd just say, trim up the beard, off the back of the collar, above the ears, and they'd get it done, and it would look great. But they're a little further away from me. And so I started going, and at one point I started going into a Good Clips.
No.
And I had this woman was cutting my hair, and I'm like, take a like an inch off of the beard. And it's like she was really nervous about taking too much off my beard. Like I would just go freaking crazy and start tearing this place down because she took too much off my beard.
Which you would have.
I'd say take about an inch off, and she'd take about a quarter of an inch off. She'd go, "How's that?" And I go, "You can take more."
Nope.
How's that? No,
that's
more.
Not an inch.
It's like, I know I've come in with a really long beard. I get it. My beard's really long. But when I come in for a trim, I want it trimmed up really short so I don't have to come back in for another 3 or 4 months.
Maybe that's why she didn't want to trim it too much, so you would coming back in.
Exactly.
With the monies.
That's how they get you.
Yep, that is how they get you.
But
indeed.
Now I go sit out on the porch with a pair of clippers and go.
Yep. That's what clippers sound like. Like a cat.
But it's getting getting crazy.
See that?
It's getting crazy up there.
Your hat hair is not that bad, actually. Your hair does the opposite of what most hat hair does, and it like comes out. Usually it stays flat. It's impressive.
Well, I stick it back.
Yeah.
Instead of going like that.
That's how I'm going to draw you from now on. This big porcupine anime looking hair.
When I get out of the shower, I can take a brush and go, and it'll all just stick up. It looks awesome.
That sounds pretty good. So speaking of beards, there's this video game I've been playing called Red Dead Redemption 2. And if you like cowboys and westerns and stuff, if you ever can get that for your PlayStation 2 for cheap. PlayStation 4. Your PlayStation 2 would run it horribly. PlayStation 4. I think you have a PlayStation 4. Yeah. Oh, if you like, the writing's amazing. Even the first game is one of my favorite games ever. So anyway, your beard grows in this game, like from nothing to, and it slowly grows. And you can go to a barber and have all sorts of different styles done, like handlebar mustache. You can have just the chin shaven. So it grows as the days go by, and like you can see it happening. Like you go to bed and you get up and you got some more facial hair. So I've become obsessed with growing my beard to level 10 because there's levels of beards in this game. I had to look up YouTube videos about growing your beard. Like my friend's calling it Beard Simulator 2020 because that's all I'm doing in this game now. Like I literally get on the stagecoach because I looked it up on YouTube how to get your beard to grow the fastest. I'll get on the stagecoach. I'll go as far as you can from one end of the map to another. Camp overnight as many times as I can until it says you cannot sleep anymore. Get back on the stagecoach and go to the other end, and then I can sleep again. So I just keep going back and forth to try to make the days go by so my beard grows. And then I found out that you have to buy hair tonic to go past level, I forget what. So I'm buying. So you chug 3 hair tonics, and that'll do you till your hair grows to the next level. Well, I spent almost 2 hours doing this when I was around level 7 or 8. I'm like, why won't it get to level 9? I want level 9 beer. Like, I'm not doing anything. Like, there's people calling me for help out in the wilderness. I'm ignoring it. I'm ignoring I'm ignoring the game. I just need to grow my beard longer. And I keep taking the same state. The moment my stagecoach, I get out, I'm like, I need a ride again. He's like, didn't. And it's funny. They actually will have them say things that are like, oh, you didn't change your mind a lot, don't you? I was like, okay, get on in again. So we just keep going back and forth, and I camp, get back in. And I was like, nothing's happening. I finally found a YouTube video that said, well, you can't grow your beard to level 9 or 10 until you get to chapter 4. So I had wasted 2 hours of my life doing something that was not happening for my beard and for my fake character to grow.
It's like, so what's people are like, oh, you like this game? What's the point of this game? I don't know. I'm just growing my beard.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like this $1 million selling game that like gets the most amazing reviews, and I'm growing my beard. And if I wasn't doing that, I'd probably get caught up with the fishing game in it, because there's a fishing game. You can play poker in it. You can play this game where like you take a knife and go between your fingers as fast as you can. Anyway, it's a fun game.
That's I've heard really good things about that game. I just, knowing who I am, I'm afraid to get a game like that because I think nothing in my life would get done.
That's a legitimate fear. It probably is what would happen.
No more podcast. I would be skipping
no more
work.
Yeah, you wouldn't be going to work anymore. Yep.
Well,
because I'm the picture of productivity when I have video games in my life. I roll. Can't show it to you now, but I'm trying to find that. I have a screenshot of my face with my beard and my snazzy outfit, but I'll show that to you later because that no one can see that on.
Plus, aren't you a criminal in that game?
That's what bothers me too, because the first game you weren't. The first game you were like a really good guy. In fact, like if you were in a saloon and prostitutes would solicit you, he'd be like, "Sorry, ma'am, I'm married." I'm like, "Yeah, I like that." And this game, you really can't get away with not like robbing a stagecoach once in a while. But you can either be a really good guy, like they do a good job of kind of making you seem like you're noble outlaws, because like there's another group of outlaws that are complete scumbags. And there's a point where like they save this woman from them, and they tell her, "We're criminals, but we're not them." So they don't make you feel like I don't like playing the Grand Theft Auto games because I don't like being a criminal.
Yeah.
But this one, I feel like I can still kind of be a good guy still. But you can be horrible. You can be absolutely horrible in this game.
Yeah. See, that didn't. I don't know.
Yeah. There's a game called
that part
Payday.
Of it doesn't appeal to me. So.
Yeah. I try to just pretend I'm a good guy and ignore that part of it because the game's so good. But like, I won't play Grand Theft Auto. There's a game called Payday the Heist where you literally rob banks and shoot cops. Like, cops will always be your enemy and you're always killing them. I'm like, I can't do that. I don't care if it's fake. So
yeah.
But yeah, this one kind of pushes that envelope a little too much for me. But anyway, it's still fun, and I've rationalized it, unfortunately.
Well, we've been going for an hour and a half.
Yep.
So I think it's about time we wrapped it up. Do you want to try to do this once a month?
We can try to. Why am I talking like this now?
I think I've talked about this over on my other podcast, which is only for the patrons. I I will have a link for my Patreon for folks if you want to go check that out. It's only $1 a month, but
That's $1 a month.
I've kind of, I don't want to say I've run out of people I want to talk to, but I've kind of started to lose my energy.
Yeah.
To try to track people down and schedule and I enjoy doing these live streams. It's really weird because since I'm somewhat of a socially awkward person,
Yeah.
the idea of doing a live stream with somebody I've never talked to before, I spend the whole week beforehand just being nervous as crap.
I thought you were going to say stalking them.
No, just
go on their eBay profile, see what they buy.
You know, it's like I try to. It's almost like there's part of my brain that tries to rationalize excuses for canceling it beforehand. You know, it's like when I talk to Kyle Stevens from Kirby Crackle and was really looking forward to talking to him, but at the same time there was that socially awkward part of me that's like, it's weird. I don't want to talk to him because it's gonna make me nervous and all that crap. But
yep. No,
so maybe part of this whole I'm getting kind of burnt out already, even though I've only done 10 of these. I do feel like I should take a break every once in a while because doing them every week is taking a little out of me.
So I don't make you nervous when I'm coming on the show?
No, because we've talked a number of times, so I'm comfortable around you.
I was hoping you would say I do, but oh well. Maybe I have to be more mean and aggressive when I'm on.
Well, I can see it looks like, is that one of your children in the background? I don't know them.
That's Harrison.
Yeah, so now I'm really nervous because I don't know Harrison.
I'm
hiding.
There. He's not there anymore, but now that bright light is...
Oh, wait, I can see him.
Well, I'm trying... See, if I move over here, then that horribly bright light...
shines, yeah.
Oh! There.
Oh.
I have an idea again.
There's something angelic about you.
There, I'll put my arm out. Is that better? You feel better now?
No, I'm fine. I'm just joking.
Are you?
Yeah. Because, you know, even as nervous as I get, you know, then I start the live stream with whomever and it's fine. You know?
Yeah. Yeah,
I have issues.
I understand.
I have issues. What's Harrison doing? Is he playing a video game?
He is playing a game called Bloons. Bloons TD6. It's a tower defense game. I don't know if you're familiar with tower defense games, but it's like you have a track on the screen. Like there's a track that these enemies go along, and you build towers along it, and you have a certain amount of money to spend, and those towers will stop the enemies. And then as you get more money, you can build or upgrade your towers. So you have monkeys, and they're stopping balloons. And I thought it looked like this. I'm not a huge fan of tower defense games, so I saw William English. That he used to be part of the Comic Geek Speak community, and anyways, he was playing it. I saw him on Steam. I'm like, I keep seeing him play that, so I just messaged him saying, "Is that any good?" And he gifts the game to me, like in response. It was $1. Nice. It was on sale, yeah. So for $1, he sent it to me, and I'm like, I'll try it. And now I am still playing it every day of this game I thought I didn't like. So that's what he's playing. He also plays a game called Smite, which is a game we both like. It is not mobile. Oh gosh, what does MOBA stand for? Anyway, it's a fun game. You play as different gods from mythology, and you fight other people, and it's fun. And we play. That's pretty much it. He plays that in Rainbow Six Siege, and he's getting better than me now. He is better than me at these games now, which makes me sad because I used to be able to trounce him.
He's young and you're old.
Yes, thank you. Multiplayer online battle arena is what those are called.
Okay.
So, did you play any video games ever?
Nope.
No.
Nope. I used to. We have a handful of games we have an old Wii and a PS4, and I used to play, like Mario Kart on the Wii, which I really enjoyed, but I was having this reoccurring dream.
Oh,
that was really quite frightening. in which I would be in some kind. It was really weird because I'd usually be in either like some type of utility vehicle, like a big dump truck or like a big 18-wheeler. And I would suddenly find myself at the top of this giant hill on like an elevated road with no railings. And I was hundreds and hundreds of thousands of feet in the air going almost straight down. And it would freak me out when I would have these dreams. And then one day I'm playing Mario Kart, and there's a track on Mario Kart called Rainbow Road, in which the track is above the earth. You can see the earth below you, and they have these straight hills that go straight down. And I realized I was having these dreams because I was playing Mario Kart.
Yep.
And then, so I was also playing Super Mario Brothers, but I got really frustrated with that. And when I distinctly remember dying at one point, and I immediately felt the urge to throw my remote control across the room, and that's when I kind of said, I need to stop. Yeah.
It's even worse if you're out in real life and you start thinking you're in the game and forget. Like when I did play Grand Theft Auto when the first 3D one came out, which was the third one. I played a lot of that, and then I felt guilty and stopped. But when I was in the middle of playing that too much, literally I was walking down the street one day. I'm like, I looked at a car. I'm like, oh, I can just take this car quick. No one's around. No, I can't. This is real life. So that happens to me sometimes if I play something too much.
Yeah, I mean when it like becomes your world, literally, and so it's like the old Tom Hanks movie, Mazes and Monsters.
Oh, that's right. Early Tom Hanks. All right, how many viewers we got? 200,000?
I'm just going to keep doing this. We've had 0 viewers the entire time.
Are we even online, or did you forget to set that up?
No, we've been broadcasting. We've been broadcasting for an hour and 37 minutes. Okay.
Well, it was still fun talking to you, though.
Yeah, I mean, we got to keep doing this because it is a lot of fun. I haven't. If we want to do it again next month, I haven't picked out yet.
Well, it's your turn to pick.
Yeah, so I'll have to think about what we want to do. Okay. Because there are books that I know that are out there on Hoopla that I would love to talk about, but I want to pick out a book that neither of us have read. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So.
Oh, by the way, I sent you on Google Hangouts. I sent you a link to a reading order for Infinite Crisis.
All right, I'll check it out.
It was my first try. It was my first result, and it has a reading order. So you're not very good at Googling.
Well, hold on now. Let me look.
All right.
Let me look at it, because I feel like I want to prove you wrong. But I'm man enough to admit when I'm wrong. So let's see. Yeah, that's the Comic Book Herald. I've been there before, and not you, not Comic Book Herald. So if you look, let's see. So you got to get past the collections.
Yep.
So this is, all right, so we've got, let's see, OMAC Project number 1, but then it has you go to OMAC Project number 2, OMAC Project number 3. And I don't feel like, and then at one point.
What about above that? It has Countdown to Infinite Crisis number 1.
Right, that's where you start. And then it has you go to OMAC Project 1, 2, and 3. Then there's a couple of, like 3 different Superman books: Superman Action Comics, Adventures of Superman, Wonder Woman, then Adventures of Superman, then Wonder Woman.
So what do you want?
Well, but look, right after OMAC Project number 4, it says to read Manhunter 11, 12, 13, and 14. That can't be right.
Why?
I mean, they have you finishing OMAC Project before Villains United even starts. That I don't remember those coming out 6 months apart.
Well, you know what? They might be putting those 4 together because they want you to read the whole story. I see your point. I thought you were frustrated because you literally couldn't find any reading order at all, or that it was just
no. I found reading. Yeah, it's
just not to your liking.
Right, exactly. And I think, like you said, it's built to be the events that happen in those 3 issues maybe need to be read together, because then the events that happen in another book, even though those, like they say, read OMAC Project 2, 3, and 4. So those were released in 3 separate months. and other books were being released at the same time. But I guess what they're saying is linearly, the events that happen in those three books happen before what may have happened in a Superman book that was released
Yeah.
when the second issue
I
came
have
out
to
or
imagine
something.
there's a reason they wrote it this way,
Yeah.
because otherwise, why would they go to the effort of doing that and not just, I don't know. Or
'Cause
maybe they
he's
are being
stupid.
lazy. Maybe they're being lazy and it could be even more specific. I don't know.
They're just stupid. That's what it is.
I was thinking there's no way you missed this one. I thought maybe you
No,
got
no.
as far as the collected editions and you thought that was the end, because sometimes the way that these things are these websites are formatted, you think you're at the end of it because you'll see an ad or something. Anyway,
No, it's like I said, I see it put together like that because at one point, as you go down the list, it says it's like Manhunter issues 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. And my thing is like I get that as far as maybe chronological events that happen within the DC universe at that time. But when I say reading order, I want to know when they were actually published.
yeah.
So if during the first month of that you had Countdown and then OMAC #1 and Villains United #1 and Superman whatever, and that's the way I want to read it. But I guess beggars can't be choosers, right?
No.
I just gotta muscle up and read the way they're suggesting I read it. That's what I'm gonna have to do.
Word.
All right. Well, on that note, my friend, this is live stream number 10. Woo!
There, I'll do it too. Peer pressure.
That's what I got my mind powers over you.
I want to take a nap now.
I'd love
I'm
to take
tired.
a nap. Maybe I will take a nap.
I don't know if I have time to.
My dog can be very demanding. I appear to be the only person in this house, even though there's 5 of us, that is able to feed and take that dog outside.
Yeah, we have a similar thing in our house, but not with the cats, not the dog.
Because whenever he needs to go outside or he's hungry, I'm the one he comes to. And if I'm asleep, if I'm napping on the couch, he will bark until I wake up. He doesn't go, oh, he's not a human. So he doesn't say, he's asleep, I should go talk to
He's not
somebody
secretly
else.
Hitler's brain in your dog. No. Well, then he'd do it the same thing and wake you up. Just a
Yeah,
jerk.
because then he'd be like, ha ha ha, I'm trying to do a German accent. And I can't.
He said, "You sound like you're French." Oh, I am the Hitler.
I am Hitler doing a French accent because I am in disguise.
Okay. We've been talking almost 2 hours. Wow.
Yes. So, all right. Peace, brother.
Oh. There's an X Factor Epic Collection coming out. That's like all the Walt Simonson, Louise Simonson stuff. By the way.
That's some good stuff.
But it doesn't connect the first Epic Collection, and that drives me insane. Why
See,
wouldn't
that's what
they
I'm
do
talking
that?
about. But
Anyway.
so what does that mean? Does that mean that everything that happened between those 2 Epic Collections suck? They're not important enough?
It feels that way. It goes from, what is it, X Factor 1 through 9, Annual 1, and then Iron Man Annual, Amazing Spider. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so the actual X Factor issues are 1 through 9. And then this one is 21 through 36. Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, you shouldn't torrent comics. Well, I know that, but you sure make it hard not to want to do it. But I won't. Anyway, torrenting's too complicated now anyway.
Yes, it
I think
is.
I remember how to do it. All right, I'm going to go because my battery's almost dead.
All right. I will talk to you later, man.
All right, bye.
Bye.